Hey guys, Coach Cotto here from Icons Rugby. Just out and about in lovely St. Petersburg with the Zastava boys training session, and they're about to do a speed session with our ex-world champion speed coach, Paulina. And, just looking back, I've been asked a couple of questions around, some things about athletes in relation to coaching and what they're looking for. And one of the questions was, what do you do for position specific? It seems as though a lot of athletes go to a team training and get, a standardized kind of program from an S&C coach, or, something that's forwards and backs, or the nutrition advice is always, you need to put on weight or you need to do that. So what does that kind of relate to each person? And it's a real interesting topic because, how I look at this, and I know how we do this in the Icons manner, is we basically go about this in kind of two ways. And the first way is that you've got to have a foundation. So if you're, let's say you're a winger and your mate is a second rower and they come into a training program. Now, there's certain standards and requirements that S&C coaches look at around your fitness and your ability and your strength, and they go across all this. And one of the big things is that if you don't have a foundation or a platform to be able to go position specific, then you really don't have the right to do that kind of specialized training. So it really comes around making sure your foundations are in place first. A lot of guys go, I'm a winger, I'm a second rower, I need this, and this. Well, if you don't have the athletic foundations, if you're not strong, if you don't have good core, if you're not mobile, if you're not good off each foot, if you don't have shoulder strength, if you don't have power through the body, then what's the point of going to the next level of position specific if you can't even hold your own on a basic level? So that would probably be the first content. Then, once you achieve that, you need to kind of look at what requirements are on the field. And rugby is a changing game where wingers now hit cleanouts just as much as, anyone else. Well, maybe not as much as the tight five and your seven, but wingers hit cleanouts just as much as centers because they're primary supports. Second rowers have special skills as well, so they've got to be explosive off the ground. Wingers have to be athletically fast but dynamic, but also hold a strong core. So if you don't have access to a coach who is, advanced enough to kind of help you in this area, the easiest way is to go watch 10 games of rugby. I use sevens a lot outside of the type 5 because sevens shows the basic skill sets required for any footy player. Now, if you advance that into 15s, if you're a winger, go see what wingers are doing. Watch them, watch the skill sets that they have physically. They're fast, they're agile, they're able to do this, they're explosive. But if they've got a body shape that's powerful, then they're powerful. If they're a little bit smaller, then they're extremely dynamic. Then you can look to engage an S&C coach who can help you build on those core principles. So once you've got your foundation, you can then look to advance in your certain area. So second rowers need great core strength and greater strength through the legs, but also huge explosive reactions through their feet, through their flexion to be able to explode off the ground. Props need a certain kind of neck strength and back strength and upper lats to be able to hold a scrum together, because core is everything, but also they need the upper back. And then also through the hips. Your 10s need to have great stability and ability to be able to stop on a dime and be able to control the situation, and a lot of hand-eye coordination under fatigue. So they're the kind of things that you can do. Now, the best thing that I've ever seen in S&C is all players become great at all attributes and then excel in their kind of little chosen benefits. So you'd want your wingers in the gym to have a little bit higher box jump than everyone else to represent explosive power, and single leg and double leg. You'd want your props to have the strongest neck strength in the gym and upper body strength with great hip flexion. You'd want your 10s to have extreme flexibility through their legs and also the ability to have good upper body strength because they come into contact zones a lot. You've got to look at what's required of the position identify the body parts that need to be strengthened to create a performance on the field, and then look to kind of adapt them. Now, you know, a lot of S&C coaches can do this, a lot of S&C coaches can't, because they don't have the experience. Just because you've got a piece of paper doesn't mean you know how to create this for a rugby field. So I would implore you to go look at a rugby-based S&C coach who has results in providing what's required on the field for their athletes. Okay? Now, in and around nutrition. Nutrition's probably the biggest, you know, questionable, I guess, you know, facet of training that everyone talks about, because everyone's got an opinion, everyone has advice, everyone has this. Some people are qualified, some people aren't. But just like S&C coaches, I believe that just because you've got the piece of paper doesn't mean you know what's best for a rugby-based athlete. You know, technically you should, but it doesn't mean you do. So you've got to be careful of where you get your advice from. I've had a story in the past where a guy was given a nutrition program from the same nutritionist who works for the Wallabies, and ended up getting, you know, put in hospital because he had a high dose of creatine in his diet. So, like, if that doesn't throw a spanner in the works, I don't know what will. But not saying that that nutritionist isn't one of the best going around, it just wasn't tailor-made for that individual. You know, there was not enough evidence taken. So, but the individuals need to take over their own responsibility of their own nutrition. So, if you know that you need to put on weight, first of all, you need to know how fast your metabolism is. So for a week, go to sleep, weigh yourself at night, wake up, all right, weigh yourself first thing in the morning, work out what hours it is, find out how much weight you've lost, and work out an average. Okay, I lose 1 kilo every 7 hours based on my average metabolism. That's the easiest way to work it out. If not, you can go to get tests done and all that kind of stuff, but a lot of people don't have time or money to do that. So you're doing that. You've worked out your metabolism. Sweet, no worries. You're going to lose 1 kilo a night. Okay, so that means what you're putting in your body needs to have an extra kilo worth of food and energy to cover your day, so that when you're training throughout the day, across the week, you cover up those 3 to 4 kilos that you're going to lose, because some days you'll lose 1 kilo, some days you might lose half a kilo. So an average out over a week might work out to be you're going to lose 1 kilo a week sleeping. So your food needs to match that, plus what you're burning during your sessions, and away you go. Now, the best way to do this, what I've found with all my athletes, is we'll do a 6-week program and look to adjust every 2 weeks. So we'll put together a 6-week eating plan. We'll then go every 2 weeks, we'll figure out how much you've lost to your fat percentages, how much you've gained in your overall weight, and then look to adjust slightly. Sometimes it's got nothing to do with the amount of food that you're eating every day and changing how you eat across the week to match your training. If you've got a heavily intense training day, even though you're meant to consume twice as much food because you need the energy, you're going to struggle to because of the stresses on the body. So, on your rest days or your lighter days, that's when you pick up your food content. So, and when that relates to position specific, when people talk about what weight you need to be and all that kind of stuff, on average, it's a ballpark figure. My biggest thing is that your power to weight ratio is adequate. So at the end of the day, you're going to have to be a little, size is always better if you are powerful and explosive and fast. Okay, being big isn't great if you can't use it. Okay, and being small isn't great if you can't use it. So if you're lighter, you need to be extremely dynamic and explosive. You need to be extremely strong on your feet and have great stability in core so that you can handle and come through contact zones. So guys, if you've got any questions around this or you want any help, then please reach out to me or any one of the Icons team. I know Manny does this as well. He talks about this a lot. And anyone else, if you have experts in your own field and your own environment, ask them some questions. A lot of people aren't going to agree with me on here, but I don't really give a fuck, because I know what works for my people and I get results, and you know, that's what goes. So guys, if you have any questions, reach out. I'm out. Peace.